The main blunder that I regularly see photographers making is that they either shoot a thought-out composition in incongruous lighting, or they shoot towards remarkable light without any kind of subject or central focus. No matter how great the light is, no matter how moody or dramatic it seems, or how colorful the sky may be, light is meaningless without a composition. Through composition, we give light meaning, a purpose, by organizing the objects that light is interacting with in a way that creates some kind of story, that gives it shape. Neither composition nor light all on their own can make a great photograph. They are interdependent, as light also gives objects and compositions meaning in return. It takes a deep and genuine understanding of both in order to create a compelling scene. Here are some signs that you may not be utilizing light as effectively as you could be. If you constantly feel like what originally attracted you about the scene isn't coming through in the photographs, or that the scene feels more flat and less impactful than in real life, you may not be shooting it in lighting that accentuates it enough. Lighting that clearly brings out what you want to show is always the best kind possible. A lot of the times, when you find subject matter that you like, you see it how it ought to be instead of how it actually is, causing you to imagine it in a more spectacular or appropriate lighting. And this mental lens or filter can distort the way it appears to you. Paying closer attention to the light can prevent looking at scenes through rose-colored glasses. If you are feeling like you can never get an image to look the way you want in post-processing, it might not be so much about your post-processing skills and just be because the light just wasn't right. And so you are trying to force it into another direction instead of working with it. There's no way to overcome not having shot a scene in the right lighting in post-processing that will look better than if you had shot it in the appropriate lighting that complements all the right things. No matter how much you try to polish something, at the end of the day, it will still only be as good as what you've captured. If you have a hard time finding compelling scenes to photograph besides just during sunrise and sunset, you're probably not recognizing the unique lighting that is happening throughout the day and noticing the objects that interact well with it. Once you understand each different quality of light and how they affect scenes differently, you can find captivating scenes to capture at any time of day. Frequently feeling uninspired to create photographs while in natural places is a big sign that you aren't really seeing everything around you. If you feel you never encounter the incredible lighting conditions that you see in other people's photographs, you might just not be capturing it in the right way. A lot of the time, it's not so much about what the light is doing, but more about how you frame it and place it in your composition. Even spectacular lighting can look drab if photographed in a way that doesn't accentuate it, while very bland, ordinary lighting can look great if photographed in a complimentary way. If you're frequently feeling bored and unexcited by the lighting while out trying to create photographs, it's a big sign that you just aren't seeing all of the opportunities that the light is constantly creating. If a scene is photographed in appropriate lighting that brings out the subject, it always looks spectacular. And in certain scenes, even very dramatic or unique lighting won't necessarily work the best. As a beginner photographer, I mistakenly believed that every scene would look best under a colorfully lit sunrise or sunset sky. Now, I realize that I was not really paying attention to the landscape and how the light was or wasn't interacting with it. It's not enough just to have light present, no matter how striking it may be. There are so many different kinds of lighting, and every quality of light has different effects in photography. Depending on the kind of light that is interacting with the landscape, it can affect the visual flow of a scene, the depth, the contrast, the color, the subject, the mood, and so much more. This is why it is so important that the kind of lighting in every one of our photographs be deliberate, and that we actually photograph in the light that works best for the scene we are capturing. Over the years, as I have become more familiar with lighting, spending countless hours observing how it dances across the faces of mountains, glows within canyon walls, and reflects on water's surface, I have come to realize all of the ways light can shape and illuminate the world around us. If there is any idea that I hope will stick with you after watching this video, it is that there is no such thing as bad light. Let me repeat that. There is no such thing as bad light. Rather, there are only good or bad uses of light. The prime times to make photographs are not just in the morning or evening, like many photographers will try to tell you. Even after dark, there is a faint glow about the land, if you only know how to capture it. Even the harshest light during midday can be used to create sound images if one only knows how. Whenever your gut tells you it's bad light, ask yourself, bad for what? You'll find that almost every time the answer will be some subconscious preconception that blinds you to other possibilities. Every single kind of lighting, at any time of day, can be given a purpose. Now, what that purpose is up to you as the artist. If you don't work with the light, it will work against you. So this was when photography became 1,000 times more fun for me. No longer feeling restricted by weather conditions and short stretches of time, I learned how to create images throughout the entire day, instead of sitting around between sunrise and sunset. Because I became aware of how I could be photographing more, I became considerably more prolific. And as photographers, we obviously all want to create lots of images, especially ones that meet our standards. So I started coming back from trips, even just quick weekend getaways, with entire galleries of images. My problem changed from not having enough images to having to select and curate through too many of them. It is a much better feeling to be overwhelmed by all of the great stuff you have produced, and have the ability to pick and choose, than to feel like you have to use everything you've got in order for your portfolio to feel complete. Now, I always strive to teach my students that they are not limited by the weather, scenery, or lighting that they encounter. Rather, our only limitation is our creativity. With a true fascination for nature, a familiarity with the intricacies of light, and the mind of a constant student, interesting things can be found all around us. With enough creativity, any kind of light can be used to make a great photograph. It's just a matter of being able to see it.